First time ever, so hopefully John McKenzie is going to appear by magic in front of us. Oh, hello.
Greetings, how are you?
Ah, very good. I can even hear you now.
The joy of having a deep voice.
I think there's a bit of a delay in terms of you hearing what I say, and there'll be a bit of a delay in us hearing what you say. So we'll take that on board and make sure we speak slowly when we have questions. Thank you.
But thank you. It's with regard to the Wainui wastewater submission, and my preference, as detailed in my submission, is to proceed as planned. What I want to do, just read my argument. I understand that you have that in front of you. I want to recap it, but not invite any questions or queries. The first thing is strong necessity for this. I should either postpone or possibly the shared model, certainly postponing, is counterproductive for the economic development of Wainui. And so in that first paragraph, I indicate here that it seems to be could be a little that sits behind why this plan, and I'm suggesting that Wainui could in fact be the economic hub of the peninsula rather than an isolated space. And so if in fact there was an infrastructure there that was carefully managed, and that's a very important part given the unique character of Wainui, it is important infrastructure in fact is the second thing is I want your attention to that Wainui residents over the time have been largely marginalised in terms of council expenditure, and I indicated that whilst it's very reasonable that a small group is a benefit ratio issue, Wainui residents by and large see little for their rates in terms of necessary infrastructure. For example, no footpaths, despite the fact that there are often crowds of children wandering around with regard to YMCA and so forth. There's nothing in the way of rubbish collection and indeed wastewater other than what's taken place in the Rutherford scheme. I could draw attention, for example, to this lack of attention to the small areas. The road had partially collapsed at 4B Bossu Road. I mentioned about 18 months ago. It is still partially collapsed, where in fact there was an accident there. It's only 2.5 metres of width road left. Sheer drop on one side. A typical postponement that's necessary. So, third argument, I'm concerned that despite a counter-argument by the council documents, that there is a discrimination for older residents. By older, I don't mean age, I mean the ones that have been there for a long time, buildings, as opposed to the new scheme, where that council expenditure has already been done. To me, it is very important that older parts of Wainui have in fact equal. Be a lack of good faith that the council knowingly proceeds where one part of the village is marginalised compared to the other. It was pointed out in the council documents that the Rutherford estate, that people there are paying extra for the services provided. That would be the case when the extra is provided for the older residents, as it might need to be paying extra as well. But I think that's not a good argument. My fourth one, it's a big. When there was the council meeting at Wainui, I raised this issue, and it was agreed by one of the staff of the city council that the whole area of shared driveways is, and I quote, a nightmare, unquote. That is to say, there are a lot of legal issues in the notion of a shared model where, for example, when there's a shared who owns 10 people who legal easement but don't own it, insist that costs are done, so put in. Owners of the highway have decided to me there's minor problems with regard to shared driveways, and shared driveways is a dominant form of access in many of the homes of Wainui. Just in the area that I live in, Anchorage Bay, there are 3 shared driveways, and about 4 at least, and there's about 30 properties attached to them. So council are not, my view, indicating documents what shared model might actually the issues of shared driveways seems to me information and potential. I draw attention to a personal situation where, as a consequence of the earthquakes, my field drain was clearly broken. During the course of EQC visit, they were happy to investigate and, if it was appropriate, carry out repairs. But given at the time the scheme that had already been proposed and budgeted for was about to take place, it seemed to me very unethical to have the EQC spend pops $20,000 or whatever when it might be redundant within a period of 18 months. However, if the council now proceeds to postpone it, it potentially puts me in a very difficult situation. I've contacted the EQC and they are to give them a heads up of the situation. I have not had a written response, I've only had verbal communication. So they're aware of it of an issue, but there is a potential problem there by postponing. If the EQC have closed its books, for example, and not prepared to look at it, even though it's on political concern, then I'm put in quite a difficult position, despite the fact I think I would argue have acted. Final thing that I would want to say, and that is there's the assumption in the shared model that all the ratepayers have equal immediate capital to possibly, particularly in the context of shared driveway, spend above 1,000, which was the figure that had been stated by the council, would cost considerably more. My house, for example, is a 100-metre asphalted driveway that would have to be, because of the nature of the landscape, to be reconstructed. That's without any of the sewerage issue. So it seems to me the cost is considerably higher than what had been indicated, and indeed not all ratepayers have that capital to be able to do so. So I would argue very strongly, as I think the democracy has put it, that the shared model is unfeasible because of lack of clarity and potentially discriminatory for people who haven't got access to the capital. Postponed, I think, is a problem with regard to the ultimate vision council had for rural areas, and I would argue people of Wainui proceed as planned. The council might have viewed that small population doesn't matter. However, in developing the plan originally, the council has already decided that small size does not matter, and I doff my fall off to the encroachments. My understanding is that the Wainui scheme is already budgeted for, and I would argue that it therefore should proceed. I'm very happy now to respond to any questions.
Thank you. I think that this has been a bit of a learning curve for me as a new mayor presiding over the council, and I feel that issues like this should really go to a hearings panel rather than to the full council on a long-term plan, because we would then be able to hear from all who were affected, although we do have others that we're hearing from today. But you've highlighted a number of issues that are very, very relevant to the decision that we need to make. And I don't know whether anyone's got any questions, but I feel that your submission has really spoken for itself. And unless anyone does have any particular questions they want to canvass. No, I really think you've raised the question of shared driveways, you've raised the EQC issue, you've raised, the potential discrimination between the older scheme and the older residents and the newer residents who are already in the scheme. So you've raised all of the issues, and these are issues that we will need to take into account as we consider what to do. I think as a council, we weren't the council that was in play at the time that the earthquakes happened, and I think if we had been, we may have asked for all of the capital projects to be analysed at that time, and a question that we wanted to ask was whether this was one that we could analyse at this time. But I take your point that that has led you to make decisions that you may not otherwise have made. So, and do you have a question?
No, just that I think I can recall...
This is Phil Clearwater,
Yeah.
Councillor Phil Clearwater,
Yeah.
who's the chair of the Infrastructure, Transport and Environment Committee.
So thanks, John. And I think I can recall seeing you at the Wainui discussion, and I think Councillor Andrew Turner was there too. But it's good that you've made your points further today to all of the council. So I don't have any further questions to ask you. It's a very clear submission. So thank you again, John.
Thank you very much, and you now go down in history as the first person ever to be video streamed into the Christchurch City Council.
Could I just draw attention in closing then to the speech bubble that is above my head?
Well done. Thank you very much.